So now we're going to take a little break from our Twitter clone to cover some core concepts that we're going to need for the rest of the application. Want to make sure we have our toolset built out so we can finish the Twitter app in a very professional and effective way. Now, two big topics we need to know in order to continue with this Twitter app is user interface and state management. In this specific lesson, we're going to cover the different types of layouts that you can have in your Flutter applications. We already covered layouts throughout the first couple places, but I wanted to have a specific course on layouts so that if you need to reference this again, you know exactly where to go. So the first one that we've used before is the row and column layout structure. This layout is actually very common throughout many frameworks, and it sets up your application kind of in like an Excel sheet. You can add a specific widget in a place relative to other widgets throughout the screen. But there are also Flutter-defined layouts. One of them is the list view. It displays things in a list. Now, the first question that comes to mind is why would you use a list view instead of a column? Well, adding things to a list view has an extra feature of it doesn't render items that are not visible. So on this list, let's say there's some things off of the screen. Those don't get rendered until they come into the screen. There's also grid view, which is very similar to a list view except grids. And then a stack, which allows you to put widgets on top of each other. There are many more layout widgets, and for the complete list, please visit the widget index. Now you can have some more advanced UIs using something called slivers. So slivers allow you to have a custom scroll page where you can mix in a whole bunch of elements within your application and have them scroll really nicely. So this is just a couple of examples. See, they're a little bit more complicated. The app bar expands there. This one, the sections come together, and you could build more complicated scrollable views. So I actually wanted to show a quick demo of slivers. We're not going to write out the whole code because we're just trying to get the gist of how slivers work. But in order to create a nice sliver view, you need to wrap it in something called a custom scroll view. And then within this custom scroll view, you're going to have a bunch of widgets. All these widgets need to be slivers or else they won't render properly. So here we have a sliver app bar, we have a sliver grid, and then we have a sliver fixed extent list. So this allows you to have a little bit more of a complicated scrollable view, and since it's an application on a phone, scrollable views are very common. So you might need to use something like this. And you just add in whatever sliver widgets you need inside. And to get a full list of all the sliver widgets that could fit in here, please go to api.flutter.dev and look in the left side. There's a whole bunch of little sliver widgets that you can add to your custom scroll view. So that's an overview of the different layouts you can have within a Flutter app. Next, we're going to get into the different design patterns that you can have within Flutter.